Remember, perfection is not the watchword here. Progress is. We've all been there. Set goals, you're ready to take on the world, and then boom, something just happened and caught your soul. And then you realize you allowed fear, doubt, procrastination to sabotage your own success. And then you begin to criticize yourself. And the question comes, am I good enough? Am I the biggest obstacle to my own success? What if I'm standing in the way of my fulfillment? If this is you, never to worry. Today we'll be delving into how to identify and break free from this self-sabotaging patterns. Hi, my name is Jumoke Seyi-Aliu, an NLP coach, a mentor. I help you unlock clarity, give you direction in confusion until you become the best version of yourself. And today we'll be identifying these habits, choices, and beliefs that limits us, that shows how we break our heart multiple times. And I'll be giving insight on how to break free from these habits and limiting beliefs so that you can stop breaking your own heart. How do we break our own hearts? That's a big question. But yeah, we do often with doubt, with worries, with beliefs that sabotage all the plans we have. I'll be giving lessons on how to break free and advice on how to become excellent, how to become the best person you always wanted to be so that you can stop breaking your own heart. Now, what's the first lesson? The very first lesson is to recognize self-sabotaging patterns. A lot of us go through this over and over again. Many of our relationships and how we view life generally stems from our own habits that we built over the years. And this can be either neglecting your own boundaries and breaking your own boundaries, or even allowing that unworthy partner in your life. We need to recognize these patterns that keep us back, because by doing that, we're sometimes unknowingly, and I would say sincerely, but we can be sincerely wrong in that, by allowing these patterns, because it's something we've believed over time to be good for ourselves, which are not necessarily good. We need to identify these patterns to be able to break free from them and have healthier relationships and healthier interactions. Identify these patterns. When you identify them, you cannot take the step to break free, to say, oh, this is what is affecting me. This is how I've been doing myself bad. And we can then take the step to living healthier life, making better choices. The second thing I'll be saying is to heal from past wounds. Hurt people, hurt people. That's no news. Emotional wounds stem from unresolved patterns and disappointment we've had in the past. It's no news that a lot of us are a representation of what we've been through over the years, but we don't have to let those things define us. I understand you had a traumatic, a painful past, but it doesn't have to define who you are. In fact, a lot of people themselves so bad by using those traumatic experience to manipulate others. It doesn't do you good, because you're hurting yourself the more, because you would not give yourself to healing. You need to identify, come to a place and you own it. You come into a place where you actually admit that you've been hurt, you've been injured, you've been brutally disappointed by a past experience, and then take steps when necessary to seek for help. By that, you'll stop breaking your own heart, because God forbid you've been through a very terrible past, and instead of looking at the way forward to get the healing you need, you decide to inflict on yourself more pain. How? By not acknowledging this wound, by not seeking the help that you need to begin the healing process, because healing is a journey and sometimes it can't be done alone. So identify those wounds so that you can heal from them. By this, you can stop breaking your own heart. Don't be the one who manipulates people to their own advantage just because they've been through something, saying, oh, just because I've been through it, everybody else must feel it. It doesn't have to be so. This limiting belief you have is eating you up. And because you've not healed from it now, you are exposing others to it, which will come back to you at the end of the day, because you begin to see yourself as an evil person. And this is because you've not actually healed from what was hurting you. Hurt people, but healed people heal others also. The third and very important lesson we need to learn is recognizing limiting belief. This is where a lot of people inflict wounds on themselves. The thing is, what you see is actually what you expect to see. I mean, your mind processes things based on external information cut down by your experiences and desires, and you see what you're projecting is actually what's going on in your mind, is what you've seen the world to be. And this is where you see people of results and people of excuses, because people have been patterned in such a way that their beliefs now make up a huge part of who they are. If you have limiting beliefs such as excuses, such as coming late to work, such as doing things the unlawful way, it will bounce back at you. But the good thing about beliefs is that you can always change them. It doesn't have to be the same. Once you can recognize those limiting beliefs, you know what to do. You can take the step and begin to change what you want to see, because what you perceive within is what you actually interpret without. And when you start to see things the way you would want them to be, then you begin to see results in that direction. Because the thing about excuses is that you will always be right, but you have to decide whether you be a person of results or excuses. Don't let your limiting belief peg your life just because you would not see the world view from a greater perspective, just because of how you've probably been brought up. Your background, your environment should not define who you are. You should be able to live beyond the scope of your environment. Look at the world and see the bigger picture. See what you can be. Do not let time, chance limit you. Let your beliefs be the ones that empowers you, not a defeating belief. It has to be an empowering one. And then you begin to see things work out the way you want them. Why? Because you've changed your worldview, you've changed your mindset, and this helps to view the world as you would want to see. The more you believe in things to happen, the more they eventually happen. But when you see the world from a myopic lens, it shrinks you. It shrinks how you see the world. It shrinks what you think about people. And the thing is that what you think about people most likely is how you see yourself. If you think and you see someone has been mean, ruthless, whether I like it or not, somewhere, somehow, you're probably mean as well. You're probably very ruthless, but you just never know it. So how you see people, how you see things define who exactly you truly are. And it doesn't have to be that way. Your behavior doesn't have to be tied to your limiting beliefs, because behaviors can change. Behaviors can change. Behaviors are just a result of mental programming, but you can change that. You can change your worldview. The more you see from a larger point of view, from a larger standpoint, the more you're able to assess everything that can happen to you. Why? Just because you've changed your limiting beliefs. Do not allow those limiting beliefs limit your worldview standpoint. See the world as a place to conquer. See the world as your football field. Nothing can stop you. Nothing should limit you. Not even the excuses. If things are not working the way you want them to work, make sure you look out for the things that can help you reach your desired outcome, or what steps to take to become the better person you want to be. Let nothing limit you, because you are limitless. You're only limited to the way you see yourself. Make sure you recognize your limiting beliefs and do well to turn those beliefs into stepping stones, into empowering opportunities. The fourth point is to embrace self-compassion. A lot of people would never give themselves the grace. I would always say, the same grace you extend to others, make sure you receive it for yourself. It will change your inner narrative when you give yourself some grace and compassion. Remember, perfection is not the watchword here. Progress is. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some compassion. If you feel like you've done something you're not meant to do, find a place in your heart to forgive yourself, because there is nothing that you cannot overcome if you only give yourself the grace you need. Embrace compassion. Give yourself such love. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is. Make sure, even as you're stepping forward in life, in your career, in your relationships, give yourself the grace. Allow yourself receive the grace you extend to others. It will change your inner narratives, and you will see that you would stop breaking your heart in that regard, because once you find love, once you extend grace to yourself, you begin to have better relationships. Um, you have healthier lives. You have healthier interactions with people, because you can see yourself as only a human trying to make progress with life. The fifth point here, where a lot of people unknowingly have categorized themselves, is the word over attachment. You need to avoid over attachment. A lot of people are overly attached to their situations, to their relationships, to things, even choices, and are not bringing their desired results, thereby sabotaging their success and fulfillment in life. If anything is not giving you your desired results, you can do well to say no. You don't have to be overly attached, because it will lead to heartbreak over and over and over again. Focus on personal growth and self-worth rather than external validation. It will help you to avoid over attachment. The next point now is set and honor boundaries. A lot of people are breaking their heart in this regard, because many people don't even honor themselves enough to have boundaries. It is very important to establish an healthy boundary. In fact, that will help your emotional stability, because when you don't have boundaries, anybody and everybody can step on you without saying sorry. And it would have been your fault because you had no boundary. There's no country I know of that doesn't have a boundary. No matter how populous they are, no matter how poor they even are, they have a boundary. So how much more a human being who's a thinking, living person? You need to set boundaries, because humans are known to be very interesting. And if you don't have boundaries, you'll be walked over and will not be told sorry. Prioritize that. Say no when you need to. No is a complete sentence. Sometimes you don't even have to elaborate. Just say no. No, I can't come for in this outing. No, I need to make time for myself. No, I need to rest. No, I can't make it. Say no. Many people are so afraid to say no because you're thinking of what others will think about them. Who cares? It is your own well-being we're talking about. Yeah. And if you keep saying yes when you're supposed to say no, you're breaking your heart. You're hurting yourself. It is doing you a great disservice. Say no when you need to say no and honor those boundaries. It can be even in your workplace. It can be in your spiritual growth. It can be in your personal development when you have boundaries to say, at 10 p.m., I'm supposed to be asleep. At so and so time, I'm supposed to be doing something. Regardless of what's going to happen, you set those boundaries and make sure you honor them. In honoring boundaries lies a person who will be great, because when you have boundaries, it sort of controls your life. It gives you such stability, such that nothing can move you and shake you unexpectedly, because there's a boundary, something that keeps you in check. There's something your life follows after. There's a pattern you set in motion for the course of your life to run. So establish those boundaries and honor them. Don't be found breaking your own boundaries. Don't be found breaking your own heart just because you want to accept what people are going to say about you. The next point will be to practice emotional regulation. We're in a world where a lot of things happen, and if you're not careful, you tend to act irrationally. When you practice emotional regulation, sense, not out of sense, you're able to give answers when you should and hold back feedback when you should, because your emotions are really regulated. You don't act irrational because you're not a dog. You're a human who has learned to acknowledge their emotions. You know your emotions and you know how to process things. You don't rush to give answers where you should. You take your time. You practice emotional regulation. You're not quick to anger, but you're slow to speak. You know what to do. You know how to do what to do. People don't get on your nerve just because they should. So in doing that, your emotions are regulated. And you can practice things like journaling, taking a walk. It helps to regulate those emotions, and you don't just give outbursts just because you feel like you can, or you've learned over time to understand your emotions and act accordingly. The next point is to focus on self-growth. Rather than listen to the naysayers and what's happening in society and what's not happening, focus on your personal growth. Learn to read those books. Learn something new. Make sure things are happening and you're evolving. In a world that's ever changing and evolving, you need to be changing as well. Focus on your personal growth. Do the things you would not definitely do. Try out new things. Explore. You never know what new horizon can just happen by taking those risks. You need to try out new things. Focus on yourself. Make sure you're growing. Don't be the same person people are used to. Be unpredictable, like some people will say. Let people see you and always see something they're proud of. They're always see someone who's changed, who's always working on themselves, becoming the better version of themselves. It is then your value can be known to all and sundry, and they can recommend you even to international opportunities when it arises. So focus on personal development, focus on personal growth. Make sure you're changing, make sure you're evolving. And the last but not the least way to identify those patterns to stop breaking your heart is to cultivate resilience. Life happens. Life always brings challenges. Life always brings setbacks. But it's your duty to stand focused, to be resilient regardless of what happens. It puts you in a higher pedestal where challenges do not phase you. And even when they come, you can walk through them and become a better version of who you already were. Because now you've been able to see life from a different perspective. You do not allow things happen to you just because they're not palatable. You walk through them. You see life through the lens of the higher perspective, such that you cannot be relegated and you can make progress and avoid harmful, damaging, and defeating patterns. Stay resilient. Stay focused in life. It will help you to stop breaking your heart. Many people, when life happens and challenges come their way, they tend to chicken out and back out in fear, in anxiety, in doubt, in worry, criticizing themselves as though they were the only ones who were to go through those issues. Everyone has a fair share of challenges. Everyone will go through some unpalatable things in life. But guess what? Only the resilience will be honored. Make sure you're always resilient. You don't have to be at the bottom of life's challenges just because hardship happens. You will not be the first and you'll never be the last. Everyone will go through that. But staying strong, standing firm will be at your own advantage. This is a compassionate call to break free from self-inflicted pain and become the best version of you, and stop breaking your own heart so you can have a more successful and fulfilling life. Catch me in my next video. I'll be talking more on how to become a better person. See you then.